Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is a Thursday and it is time for our beginners adult coloring for beginners or from the beginning. We're going to be doing some hair. We did the fantasy skin and the dark skin for the Brute Funer squares last week. So we're going to do a little bit of the dark hair and a little bit of the fantasy hair. And we will try to get some of that done today. Got a mess there. I dropped a pencil and had to erase a line. We're going to be using a circle template for the fantasy hair. And then we will be, of course, doing her hair as well. So we're going to actually start on her hair. Because she is darker skinned, her hair is going to be a lot darker. So we're going to start off with her hair, and we're going to zoom you in onto that, and then we will get started. So with hair, there's several different things that go on with hair. First of all, of course, is that there's tones, shades, highlights, and different colors all within the hair itself. So we're going to be concentrating on the different shades that would be in a darker hair color. Now with the darker hair color, there's going to be some reds, there's going to be some blacks, there's going to be some blues and that sort of thing. So depending upon what color of hair is what you're going to use for your undertone. So this is going to give you your highlights and that sort of thing. So we're going to start with number 33 and we're going to base color a little bit in the hair in the darkest areas. Try not to color the leaf. This template is available. It was on the last video while we were talking about skin. I made this available. I did create this on Canva. I did not draw these. These are not my artwork. They are available as a template on Canva. So that is where I got them from. Okay, so we're going to start up here on the top of the head. Now I've added the blue. Now we're going to add a little bit of a browny red. So that one that I just added is number 33. And then we're going to add a little bit of 54. And this is going to be our highlight color. And we're going to go right into that blue with it, creating a little bit of a purple. Which is fine because we're going to be going over this with black as well. Now you can also do a dark hair color if you're working with more of an Asian hairstyle or a Caucasian hairstyle, doing more of a blue and then gray for your highlight and black for your cover color. Now because this is going to be more of an African hair coloring, we're going to work more in the blacks and purples and blues. So now we're going to use number 28. And hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to sharpen this because I need it a little bit sharper. Sorry about the shaking. I need a good sharp point on the pencil so that you can get your flicks. So basically when you're doing hair, you can do a flat undercoat. So a flat, by flat I mean just do, color the entire area straight. But when you're doing your hair itself, you have to do it in flicks. So you have to go in a little line in the direction that the hair is going. So because the artist has put in some lines here, it tells us which direction the hair is going. And that gives us the direction to put our hair in. And then down through here, as you can see here, it's curled a little bit. So we're going to follow that curl. These solid areas under here where there's going to be shadow, you can just put in a little bit more solid. But where there's not shadow and you're actually putting in the hair strands, it is better to use a very sharp pencil and to flick those strands in. And what I mean by flick is just little flicks of your wrist, moving that pencil across the area. If you have a curvature into the area, make sure that you follow that curvature. So if the hair is curly like it is down here, you're going to be following that curve, that curl. All right, so now we're going to go back to our red, and we're going to start, I'm going to sharpen it, because we're going to start adding the highlights and the undertones back in, putting those bits of color back into the hair. So we're going to start here, and we're going to work in the flicks again, following the hairline. Like so. Then the same with the blue. Sorry about the shaking. And then we're going to do the blue. And instead of doing it solid this time, I'm doing the same thing. Just flicking the hair, moving my hand in little flicks, following the lines of the hairline. And moving that in. Alright, now I didn't put any down here, so we're going to add a bit of the red there. Then we're going to take the black again. And making that darkest in the dark areas where that highlight isn't hitting. Now the Brute Funer squares are a softer pencil, so keeping a sharper point on them sometimes can be a little tedious. The great thing about the Brute Funer squares is they're really easy to turn. So if you're constantly moving your pencil and turning it, you will find that you maintain that point a little bit better, and you can continually re-add and add more and more definition, more and more structure to the hair. Alright, so then we're just going to take our red again. And we're going to cover up some of those white areas, like so. Then our darker color, so this is the blue. So when you add blue and black together, it will actually give you a darker black than if you just use black alone. And then a little bit more of the red. And you just keep on going back and forth like this until you have the hair that you want, the highlights that you want, and that sort of thing. So as you can see, it's still dark, it's still black, but there's a little bit of red to it, there's a little bit of blue to it, which gives you that more of a dimension. So we're going to do this side here. So again, coming in with that blue, following the hairline. Now you could color this in solid, or you can, I automatically go to flicks, but you don't need to. You can base color this in if you want to. My go-to, my immediate go-to after doing hair for as long as I have, is to start with the flicks, because then you can integrate into those flicks instead of just having to go over top of them. But if you are more comfortable filling in that area with your light color and then adding to it, that works too. You don't have to immediately start with the flicking. But what the flicking does is it gives you a good guideline of where to fill in, where to bring that dark in, that sort of thing. Alright, so there's our blue. Now we're going to come in with our red. Now this is a deep red brown. And I'm just coming right into that blue. Not worried about it turning it a bit purple. And I'm not worried about how light this is, because we'll be going over it until we get to a point where we want that color to be. And then our black. So if you look at a strand of your hair, you will see that there's several different colors in a single strand of hair. One area is your highlight area. So you'll see different colors in your highlights, and grouped together, it will show a area of different color depending upon what light is hitting it. And that's what we're showing here with the red. There's also, your natural hair color, which is the majority of your hair will be that color, because when there's a lot of something, like for example, my hair is brown. However, I do have some blonde and red highlights. So when I'm in the sun, you will see different areas of my hair that reflects a bit of a golden tone, and some areas that reflect a bit of a red tone. And that's just the different colors in my hair. And everybody's hair has different colors, so hair is just not one color. It can be, like white, but even then it's got a little bit of gray in it, a little bit of brown in it, depending upon what your hair color was before. Unless you've dyed it white, and then it's white. And sometimes as you get older, those pigments leave your hair and then you have none, and that's when you end up with white hair. Alright, so there's our black. Now we're going to come in with our blue again. Again, following those lines. Like so. Just so, hopefully the volume and the sound on this video is better. I do apologize for yesterday's video. It does seem that for some reason, even though I hadn't changed any of my volume settings on my mics, for some reason it was not recording in a high enough volume. So I did go through and repair that, and I have changed my settings on my mics to have a higher volume. So hopefully today's video will be a little bit better when it comes to the sound. Like I said, I did redo yesterday's video, so if you had watched it but you had no volume or a lack of volume, or it was frustrating because you couldn't hear, try it again, because like I said, I did re-record that. When I checked it, I wear a headset for my speakers because I don't have external speakers on my computer. So I use a headset to check it, and it sounded fine to me. But I had other people check it for me that don't use headset, that use speakers, and I was informed that it definitely was really low. So I did go through and adjust things. And while I was adjusting things, I noticed that my settings on my microphones were extremely low. So I think the update that I did to OBS recently may have contributed to that and created an issue. So hopefully now it's going to be a lot better. Hopefully. So I sharpened my black, and I'm coming back in with that sharper black, making sure that I get those strands in there. And getting that color deepened. Now, when you have an issue like this where it looks like it's really, really light and it's actually kind of not, what is happening is the white spot of the page is overtaking your color. So once you remove that white spot, you will end up with more of a deeper look to your color. Now, if you have a lot of white spot, you either A, haven't put down enough color, or B, are using a very toothy paper. Now, this is quite toothy, but I can honestly say that I'm pretty sure I don't have enough color down because this side here didn't, even though I haven't blended it yet, was able to create and hold on to a higher volume of color. So I know I've got more color that I need to lay down here because it's a larger section. So I'm just going back through with the black, putting in those flicks, and then we'll go in with the red. And I'm just putting the red in the highlight area. And then the blue. And then the black. Now there are many, many people out there that do wonderful hair tutorials. I don't exactly follow all of them, but I do have a couple that I have learned from, especially with dark hair, on what the undertones are that are best with dark hair. Black in particular, because there's several different ways that you can do black hair. One is like I'm showing you with the blues and the reds. Another way is using grays and blues. And then, of course, just gray and black. Maybe even a little bit of white will give you that tone and shade. All right, so now we're going to take our blender and I'm going to blend this and show you how it looks. Just going to sharpen my blender a little bit here. Now when you're blending with your blender, try not to go up and down. Try to go in your same flicking motion. Like for example, this area here is flicked this way. So go in your same flicking motion to blend that hair. And you will find that you don't lose the strand that you've put in with your pencil. Like so. And I'm not pressing overly hard with the blender, just in case I feel that I need to add more black or more blue. I think the red's fine. Now around the plant I am actually blending that solid because it's got the shadow of the plant as well as the strands of the hair. Like so, and then we're going to take our black and we're going to fill in some of these areas that I feel that the black was lacking. If it looks too blue, just go over it again with your black. Like so. Try to go over areas that the white spot is showing too much. You can of course leave some of the white spot. It is great texture. But I do find, especially with hair, that too much of a white spot in a dark hair color takes away from that dark hair. So that's how I would do her hair especially. I do feel that she is going to have those red highlights instead of the blue highlights. Now for this one over here, this one is more of a fantasy type of coloring. Yes, she looks like she was slapped in the side of her face. No, we are not going to correct that. What we are going to do is we are going to build on that. So we're going to start with some pink tones, and we're going to start building our highlights, our lights that are creating that color on her face. So I'm going to start with number 16, and I'm going to sharpen this extremely sharp. So the colors that I used in the dark hair are number 33 to begin with, number 54 for the red highlights, and number 28. So we're going to write these down over here. So we're going to start with this one, just so that, so that's that one where, there it is. So this one is 33. 54. And number 28. So those are the three colors that I have used in this hair. Now you can of course use other colors in there as well if you feel that you need to add more browns, or less reds and more of the blacky browns. You can definitely do that as well. Alright, now we're going to go into this hair color here, and this is the reason for the circle template. So we've got little circles here. Now we're going to put some, we're going to go into the center here, and we're going to put some so there's our centerpiece. So we're going to go here. And of course this pencil is too thick, so we need a thinner one. This one. Alright, so we've got that on the center. So this is a fairly small little spot. So let's go into about here. And for some reason this one's even not working. Oy vey. You would think that a regular pencil should fit in those holes. You would think. Alright. So we want to come in to about here. Alright. So we're going to turn this over, and maybe that's the problem. So alright, so there's our first area. Now we've got to go into the second area. And this one here we're going to make a little bit bigger because that is a bigger dot. So we're going to make this one a little bit bigger. Like so. And then this one here is smaller. So then we're going to go right there. All right, and this is what's going to give us our colors. So with this one here, for example, this big one here is this circle here. So this circle is going to be that deeper pink all the way around that whole circle. So I'm going to do this very loosely. And what this is going to do is it's going to give us that light shine. Now, normally I would erase those pencil lines, but I'm not going to erase those pencil lines because we're going to also do for this one and that one. Now, this one here is a little bit brighter, so then we go through that one's pencil lines. And we use a bit of a darker pink for that. And this one down here is lighter. So then we're going to take a bit of a lighter pink for this one here. And we're going to go all the way out. And all the way back in. So that gives us our line. So that shows us where our colors are going to be interrupted. Now we're going to do her hair in more of a brunette hair, or not brunette hair, blonde hair, sorry. So we're going to use this one and then some of these colors here. This one and this one, and a little bit of this one. Yeah, this one. All right, so we're going to start off with our yellow, and we're not going to go into this area here too much. We're going to go very lightly into it, and then we're going to change those colors to fit the hair, to fit the colors that are in there. But we need to put a little bit of the hair color through here. Even if we are going to be adding those highlight colors. All right. So there we have our start of our blonde colors. And then we're going to go in with this one here. Now we're going to start building that color. So like I said, sometimes you can just put down a flicking motion, and with things like the dark-skinned hair, dark-skinned girl hair, it was a smaller area. Now because this is a larger area and more flowing in the hair, we need to start with just a base coat and then work our way in with those darker colors. So we started off with number 3. Now we're working with number 92. And I'm just working that hair color in. Getting the curves and that sort of thing in there so that you can still see, even through the light, that there's a different hair color there. So again, this is where you start doing your flicking motion. Putting in those flicks, getting that hair strand in there. All right. And then the next color we're going to use is number 93. And then we're going to come back with those pinks. On the other side, you do the same thing with this spot with a blue pencil into the hair. We're going to get to that point here in just a moment, but first we're going to do our dark color to show that there are undertones and things that the little areas that that light isn't going to be hitting. Like back here. Under here. So this is just going to add a little tiny bit of a darker color so that when we blend into it, it will give us more dimension to the hair. Where with, that's the one thing about blonde hair is sometimes when you're working with blonde hair, it's hard to put a little bit of depth in it. So you add a little bit of a tan brown, so more of a yellow brown, and that will give you the ability to put some depth into the color. I'm also going to use a little bit of gold, and this is the metallic gold pencil that is in the set. And I like to use gold in blonde hair especially because it adds that little bit of glint that blonde hair does have. So because of the light colors in the hair, it does shine a lot more, especially in the sun and in the light, than darker hair is. So it will catch the light a little bit better because of those yellows and browns and golden colors. Now we're going to take the gold, and this is the gold pencil, which is number 59. And then we're going to start on that fantasy coloring. Now it's important to put a little bit in with the fantasy light color. So these little things here are just putting out a little bit of radiant light, which is giving the hair that pink tone as well as the shine on her face, which is what's changed her skin tone to that pink and blue, are these little lights that are around her. Now, if you remember last week's video, I did say that we will come through and we will adjust her face as we add the colors for the hair. And once we add the colors for the hair, you will see that it does work itself out quite nicely to give you that buildup of color. All right, so now we're going to start with number 16, and we're going to start coming through here with it. Because the lights are still quite transitional. There's a large amount of this that is covered by the one circle, which it was done with this color. So we're going to make sure that we add a lot of this color in so that the colors, even though they're multiple colors going through, this color does cover all of this area, where the other colors only cover part of this area. All right, and we're going to come down through here, like so. And then we're going to go in with the next one, which is 120. sharpen it, sorry. I need them nice and sharp. When you're doing hair, try to maintain a really good sharp point to your pencil. What this does is it gives you a better definition of the hair strand when you're flicking. Like so. Alright, and then the last one we're going to use is the light pink. And then we will go over it again with the yellows and build those colors up as well. Now these circles that I put on here are just for demonstration purposes. You do not need to keep those in there or even use them at all. What you can do is you can just eyeball it. Take a look at where your globes are, where your lights are, and just eyeball it. You can also do this with different skin tones that aren't light induced, alien skin tones, that sort of thing, where the color of the skin is actually the the creature's skin color. Now I've done it these colors because these colors are reflected in her skin. Now if you because of the lights reflecting in her skin. Now if you wanted to do this a fantasy hair color because of race or that sort of thing, if it's a Martian, you might want to use a different color. If it's a mermaid, you might want to use a different color. If it's a lizard person, you might want to use a different color, of course. So I have the natural skin tones plus the different shading coming off of those lights. So even though the light, the center of the light, the amount of heavy brightness is still there, we still have to come up into those residual areas with a little bit of that light as well and blend that in too. So I'm coming through here on the hair, especially heading towards that light with some of those darker colors and making sure that it still has a little bit of that residual light, the aura of the light, I guess you can say, protruding off of the light itself and into the hair. So even though the hair isn't in direct line of the light, it's still going to have a little bit of it that comes off to temper that light down, to bring it in to the yellow. Like so. Alright, now we're going to go back to our yellows. So those are our pinks. Now we're going back to our yellows. We're going to start off with our number 3 again. We're going to dust this off, make sure that all the pink, all the loose pink is not there. Now I'm going to flick instead of coat. And this is just longer flicks because of the strands of hair being longer. Like so. And then, so the first one we used is this one here, which is number 3. And then number 92 is the next one we're going to use. And again, just flicks. Bringing that hair color together. Making sure you get down into those darker areas as well as the lighter areas. So because there's so many curls and layers to her hair, there's some darker areas as well as the lighter areas. And then we're going to come in with our number 93. So this one here is 93. And again, same thing. Come into our darker area. Like so. And then the gold. So the next one we're going to use is number 59. And again, we're just going to come in and give a little bit of that reflective shadow color. I need a little bit more of that pink. So this is number 120. All right, so let's start with this one here. And that's number 16. 120 is the next color. And then this one here is number 70. All right. So those are our colors for our fantasy hair. Now we're going to do the same thing here that we did on the black. We're going to start in our lightest area, which of course is going to be our yellow and golden colors. Again, moving in those flicks, making sure that we get the hair strands in there. Wipe your blender pencil as you go into some of the deeper colors. If you're going to come back through and put another line, layer or more flicks into the yellows. Same with through here. I'm just going to fill that all in. Now I'm not going to worry about removing the lines because this is as far as it's going to go on this picture. The main part of this was to show you where the color is coming from. So those three lights right here are where those colors are coming from on her face, in her hair. Now once you get that done, you can see, even if you don't do the circles, you can see how that color is moving across her face. We're going to be doing this, you will be doing the same thing on this side with blues, so bringing that yellow down, putting in the shadows, everything else, and then going from these ones here with some blues. And once those are done, you will definitely see a good amount of that color everywhere else and not just in her face, which will make it a little bit more understandable of where that light and that color that is on her face is coming from. All right, I'm going to zoom you out so you can see a little bit better of what we've done here today. So we've taken a look at two different types of hair, as well as two different types of skin. So with the darker skin tones, you want a darker hair, but you want that highlight in there as well. So with the highlights, we've added that blue and we've added that red, which when the light hits it shows a shine, shows a area of hair that is not black, which gives us those highlights a little bit better. There are several different ways of doing a dark hair color. Whether it's a blue black, whether it's a gray black, whether it's a white black, whether it's a red black. There are so many different types of hair for different types of black hair genetics. So, for example, a black person or an African American person that has really, really deep tones in their skin, really heavy tones in their skin, they will have a lot more of that black and red. Where if it's a Native American, where they've got a lot more of that red tone in their skin, they'll have a lot more of the blue, black kind of color. Same with an Asian American. They're going to have more of that blue, black. With the Native American, you're going to add a little bit more of the reds to it, a little bit more of the browns to it, the same as you would with a African American, because of their skin tones have a lot more reds and purples in them. Now, an Asian hairstyle is going to be more of the gray blues. Grays and blacks, blues and blacks, whites and blacks. That is going to be more for your Asian Americans and those types of skin tones because of the yellows and the light colors in their skin. So the darker the skin, the more likely is that you're going to have those skin tones, those blacks, those reds, and those browns in the hair, where with the lighter skin tones, you're going to have more of the grays, the blues, and that sort of thing in the hair. With a fantasy skin tone, basically, you can do this with pretty much anything. She's got her little cat ears and whatnot, but she definitely does look human. There's no signs of scales or fur or anything on her face. Now, if she was a mermaid and had little scales and whatnot, that sort of thing, you could definitely color her face with skin tones and add those teals and blues and greens into those scales, bringing those scales up. Or even purples and yellows and whatever color that you chose to do her tail and her other scales in, you can bring those up into her face and into her hair colors and that sort of thing. So it all depends upon what you're coloring, on how you would integrate those colors into your skin tones as well as your hair colors. Alright guys, so that is it for me on hair and fantasy skin tones and dark skin tones with the Brute Funer squares. If you have any suggestions of things that you want to have shown in the next month for the the adult coloring for beginners from the beginning, let me know in the comment section below the video, and I will try to work those in. The last time I asked for these comments, the only comment I got was skin tone and hair. So I've done skin tone and hair. Um, so if you have anything at all that you want me to look at and want me to work with, please leave a detailed comment in the comment section below the video, and I will be happy to do what I can and show you what I know. Of course, I don't know everything, and sometimes we may just be experimenting together to figure out and find out the best solutions for coloring something in particular. All right, guys, with that, I would like to say thank you all very much for watching. Of course, always remember to like, comment, and subscribe to any YouTube artist that you enjoy. And of course, always remember to relax, color, and stay safe, everyone. Until next time, bye-bye for now.